Welcome everyone to our exciting panel for today. My name is Ramon Guerra. I'm from the College of Arts and Sciences Diversity, Equity, Access, and Inclusion Committee. My colleague Alicia Anderson and I and Laura Graham have all put together a nice panel here of international student athletes from UNO's soccer teams, men's and women's, and we've got coaches here as well. The panel is going to be about their experiences as international students, but then also as soccer fans, soccer players, and help us all get a little bit knowledge and excitement for the upcoming World Cup, which kicks off Sunday, very first game. So I'll turn it over to Laura, who will allow the panelists to introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and begin.
Should I go over there to say hello or should I stay here?
You're in view either way, so it's up to you.
I'll just sit here then. Hi, I'm Laura Grahams. I'm in philosophy. I have to show you, like, I've got my awesome philosophy now shirt for this occasion, which anyone who's a philosophy major can obtain. I am very excited to hear from soccer players because for years now, I've been hearing about the soccer teams at UNO as not just great soccer teams, but as exemplars of communication, of leadership, and just the positive feedback about how they work together made an excellent choice for people that we want to learn from. So not only do we want to celebrate your amazing seasons, both teams had a tremendous season. I think, what was it that the men's team competed for the Summit League championship, got close, not quite, right? Is that correct? But definitely in the running and hopefully in the future. And we have also women's team Summit League champions, right? And the first, if I'm correct, first women's team since we went Div 1 to really get this far in their team's progress in the postseason. So this is very exciting milestone. And so we really were excited to bring you here, not just to celebrate the teams, but also to learn from you about what it's meant for you to be an athlete and to have soccer in your life and to work with your teammates. So welcome. Can we start down here and just go down the row and tell us a little bit, who you are, where you're from, and
Sure, yeah, I can start. My name is Erin Gunther, and this is my first year as the assistant soccer coach. Tim would have loved to be here today, but so I'm filling in. I'm from Colorado originally, and I actually have played internationally as well myself. I played in Sweden for a little bit in my career, and now I'm here coaching and get to be a part of this awesome team, awesome experience. So, yeah.
My name is Emilie. I'm from Norway. I'm a junior and have played at UNL for 3 seasons now. Yeah.
excellent, welcome.
Yeah.
My name is Gonzalo. I'm from Santiago, Chile, and this was my first season here.
My name is Lute. I'm originally from Spain, and this is my second year here at UNO. My second season playing for the men's team, and I'm a senior.
Excellent, thank you.
Awesome. I'm Donovan Dowling. I'm the head men's soccer coach here at UNO, originally from Kansas City. Obviously, I have a good amount of experience with international student athletes, both as a player and coach.
Excellent, thank you. What I forgot to ask you actually is what position you students are playing on the team. So can you tell us what position you play?
Yeah, I play midfielder.
I'm playing right back.
I'm a goalkeeper.
Excellent. So we have a mixture of different expertise. Okay, awesome. So the first question we wanted to know about is just how excited are you for the World Cup starting, and do you follow it closely? Tell us a little bit about what the World Cup means to you, especially as you're wrapping up your season, coming off that, and now getting ready for that excitement.
I've always liked to watch soccer, and especially international competition is really fun because you get to see the best teams in the world, the best national teams. So I'm really excited to watch it and watch some good soccer.
Well, and my country didn't make it, but actually how they live, like how the people feel the soccer in South America is actually kind of crazy. Like it's like basically on the culture, like people live from soccer, everything they can do. They try to watch all the games that they can. So I'm pretty sure that everyone's going to be watching the World Cup. I'm actually really excited, hoping that some team from South America win it. So
Yes.
that's it.
Do people, when their team hasn't made it, are they sort of partial to South American teams, rooting for them and hoping that they get further?
I'm not sure if everyone, because of their
It's
rivalry,
mixed,
like,
okay.
actually in my case, I would like to Messi win it, but I'm not the Argentine fan,
Yes.
so I'm like kind of
Conflicted
like
a little bit about
conflicted.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think that the World Cup is probably the biggest event in the soccer world and probably the biggest sports event in the world. There's nothing better than seeing like the best players to come together and play for the national team. And, you know, it's pretty exciting. And hopefully Spain has a chance to win it.
Yeah, let's hope, yeah,
We'll see.
they really do. Exciting. And are you partial to the Swedish team, having played with
A
them?
little bit, yeah, a little bit actually, but yeah, because America's the team isn't the best. So I'd say I'm more partial to Swedish.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can remember since I was little, right? The first World Cup I watched, I can remember a little bit of 94, but also 98 on every single place I was when watching. Not only as a fan, but as a coach, you see a lot of modern trends that come out within the game and affect soccer and teams throughout. So it'll be really interesting and a unique year having a Winter World Cup, which is different than any typical World Cup. So.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's been interesting to me over the course of my lifetime just to see how much more important soccer has become in the United States. It's been a real occasion for the growth of the sport, but also just people learning a lot about the other countries' teams and bringing people closer together globally. I think it's been a really great phenomenon in that way. So people are now, you know, in the US, maybe it wasn't the premier sporting event, like you were saying, it is elsewhere, but it's becoming that here now too. It's becoming really exciting. And like everyone that I know is interested in the outcome and watching. So could you tell us a little bit, students, about what it means for you to be a Maverick athlete, to be both a student, but then also representing the school as part of the soccer team? Whoever wants to jump in, just take turns.
Yeah, I can start. I mean, first of all, with like being able to like represent a university, you can see where you go to these kind of like Summer League tournaments or everything that everyone is like rooting for like their university and they know they're representing something bigger than their team. And it's a good feeling also, the amazing people that we have in the staff, even like the people that help out with everything like laundry. You see that they're moving towards the same goal and it's always good to see and to say that you're part of one university and to represent something.
Well, I think for me, like as well, I'm pretty happy here. I think all the people has been very nice with me in my time here at UNO. They always try to help you. So international is not always easy because you see the good part that you always are on the field playing, but then you have the rest of the day that you have to live and sometimes you miss your family, you miss your normal life. But the people here actually is always taking care of you, like offering something, like they can help you in anything they can. So for me, it's been an amazing time here. I'm very excited to have another season, another year, and try to compete in all the ways that we can.
It's great.
I agree. It means a lot to be able to represent the university and just like have people from the school, people in my class, like paying attention, coming to games, like, you know, like what we're doing, especially like people coming out for like our championship game, seeing like that people care and like representing the university like in important games like that.
That's great. So we know that student athletes face some unique challenges. Part of the reason that our committee is really interested in the group of student athletes is to understand what it means for them to feel included and to address the special challenges that they might face, given the extent of work and commitment that's required to be an athlete. Can you tell us a little bit about what those challenges are like for student athletes, maybe managing your time, the responsibilities, and also just the pressure that you're under for competing?
I think that being part of a soccer team in college is pretty different from other sports, maybe because we tend to have like more diverse team and like a lot of internationals, also as well a lot of Americans, but it's probably like the most diverse team on campus usually. So from that aspect, I particularly haven't had any problem at all. I've always felt welcome and like everyone's been like helping each other. I know that, for example, like Americans are always willing to like help international with everything that they can. So no issue there. And then obviously like just trying to like balance sports and academics is always a challenge, especially if you have class conflicts or something that you cannot like avoid. And but yeah, I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, it's rewarding at the end.
Yeah, they're basically is the same, but I think in my experience, I never had like a professor who like didn't like help me. They always been willing and they always like understand you, and the way when you talk to them, it's like maybe yeah, I'm not gonna be able to be here, but I can do it next week, or how we can schedule something to do it. And they are all the time like listen to you, and they actually take care of you and try to help you, because they understand that sometimes maybe in the most important weeks when you have to fly, you have games outside.
Yeah.
It's very like it's actually difficult to make the times like get together, but they're able to help us. That's my biggest point.
I agree, there's definitely challenges, especially when we miss a lot of classes for travel. We have had a lot of away games this year, and I really appreciate when professors are understanding and like can help with like making up work and like making sure I like have some of the things that we went through in class. Yeah.
I'm curious also, what do you major in, and do you have to make choices about how to take classes and plan your academics around the planned commitments for the sport?
Yeah, that's like a really big thing, that we try not to have classes during our practice times. And that means sometimes we have to like choose classes that and like try to work around it, which sometimes is hard, but most of the times we're able to work around it and it works out.
What is your major again?
Civil
Oh,
engineering.
civil engineering. So that's probably got a lot of requirements, but somehow you're. Yeah.
Well, my major is business, but yeah, it's that like sometimes you gotta like schedule your classes, but the advisor always try to help you and make sure that you're gonna have all the tools to like take your class at time. And if you can't take it in class, you sometimes can take classes online. So actually, they always try to help you.
I'm a computer science major, and I've always had a lot of trouble with classes, especially there are not a lot of athletes doing the major I'm doing, so sometimes it's pretty hard to go on the professors. They haven't had a situation before where they have to like accommodate for a student athlete, but yeah, sometimes especially when you go into your junior senior year, it's not as easy to get the classes without having conflict for training, but at the end of the day, you work it out with the coaches and with the professors. So it turns out good.
Excellent. Well, we have a couple other questions, but also I want to, after this, soon open it up to questions for others, or if we have people online who are sending in any type of question, we'd be happy to ask that too. So one question you've already addressed in part is, are there particular challenges for international students, either in the classroom or in other aspects of UNO community or life? What kinds of things have you found challenging, whether they turned out positively or negatively? What should we know about that international students face when they are here?
I mean, I think one of the biggest things is probably the language. As you can tell, like English is not the first language of any of us. So one of the biggest things when you come here first, probably your freshman year or the first time you're in the US, like probably your English is not as good as it's gonna get. So sometimes those first classes, or they can get some really challenging, not even because of the material that you're being taught in class, but just because it's not as easy to like process the thought in another language and try to be as good as in your mother tongue. So that's probably one of the aspects.
Yeah, for me, some challenges, the weather. I'm not used to the cold, so train with that. Like this weather is actually tough. But at the end of the day, like you have all like the clothes and stuff, and the people take care of you, so you're able to feel warm sometimes. And like Lute said, yeah, the language is one that is pretty tough. But at the end of the day, when you're living here, you understand the culture. Maybe sometimes the culture are different, but you when you think about it, sometimes they're the same, but with just little change, and you just get used to it and be with some people.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely like challenges with language, like especially coming here, like in the beginning, there's a lot of phrases and words, and like you learn like the material in another language, which is hard to just like translate. So that can be challenging, but it's really helpful when people like try to explain and just like take it a little slower. Or just use like a translator else. It's also like missing home can be a challenge sometimes, like especially with like time difference, like you're not like able to actually contact your family and friends sometimes.
Yeah, those are all very interesting. I wouldn't necessarily have thought of all of those things, so it's really helpful to hear those things from you. Are there questions from others online or in our audience that you'd like to ask? Well, we have a few others here too, but I'd like to hear from you.
None from online yet, but I do have a question for y'all, especially as you were saying, comparing the culture of soccer across the world and how it may differ. Do you feel coming here to Omaha, is this like, are you experiencing some American soccer culture, or do you think the diversity of your teams kind of brings a new perspective and sort of forms its own identity here?
Well, first, the facilities and everything that we have here, like few teams have it back in Europe. Like you have to go to like big academies, like professional teams, academies, or really well-funded teams to have facilities that any or almost all D1 schools have here, and we are fortunate to have here. So that's helpful. But also, yeah, I mean, there are differences between how soccer is played in different countries, and obviously you have to adapt also to college soccer, which has some specific rules that have been changing over the years, and they're different from my freshman year compared to now. But in the bigger sense, in the bigger picture, at the end of the day, it's 11 guys and one ball, so it's kind of the same.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, the culture of soccer it changed around the world. Like here is more physical, and especially in college soccer, that you have unlimited subs. So if the team has a good roster, they can keep making subs, and people keep running, and the other guys can get tired. So my first year actually was tough here. Like you have like big people, like big guys, strong, and sometimes in South America, my country especially, you're not used to that. Like it's more maybe skills or technical in some aspects. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's the same. You gotta just adapt, try to talk to everyone, understand that maybe Europe, Asian have different like culture from soccer, but at the end of the day, when you're inside, everyone speaks the same language, the ball in the feet, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. You can see some differences between like how US teams play compared to how Norwegian teams will play, which was definitely like challenge to adapt to in the beginning because it's so different. Here it's physical, a lot of running, while in Norway it's a more technical, more like based on possession, which is hard. And also like here we play way more games. Like we play Friday, Sunday games and Summer League, which is a lot to play compared to like what I've been used to.
Very interesting. I have a couple questions that I would like to ask of both the coaches and players, if that's all right. So we have an audience that includes faculty members and staff, and it was good to hear actually that staff were important as well in making your experience at UNO a positive one. I'm curious from coaches and players, is there anything you would give as advice for how people in the UNO community, whether it be faculty, staff, or other fellow students, can help support student athletes and international students at UNO?
Yeah, I think I'll speak on that a little bit. I think understanding international student athletes have unique challenges, not just from being a student athlete, right, and the time demands and academics and balancing those and being the front porch of the university and being held to maybe different to higher standards than a typical student would. It is also some of the restrictions they face just with their visas, right? In terms of what they can and can't do in terms of work, where they can go and some of the challenges of just not having a support system here besides teammates, coaches, and athletic department. So those are certainly challenges that they face, but also the value that they bring. I experienced throughout my career as a player, and certainly see it as a coach, is how much players on our team and the student body as a whole of blending different cultures. America itself is a melting pot of cultures, but now once some of these international, whether student athletes or not, really kind of expand the student body as a whole, their experience and understanding, and it certainly really affected me and my leadership and who I am as a person today is by living with and sharing times with people from completely different cultures, different sides of the world, and help me broaden my understanding as an individual.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Donovan just said, and as well, I think it's really important to remember, as well as these three, they speak English very well, in my opinion. It is hard to speak another language every hour of the day, you know, and it's exhausting. I mean, I know living in a different country that didn't speak English, like to try and learn another language and communicate and like perceive, like, well, get your personality across in a different language is one of the hardest things to, I think, do. And I think just remembering that along the way, that those things I think we take for granted as Americans, like we expect people to be able to just speak English, and you know, we're in America now, you know, and I think understanding that takes a little bit more time and it takes a little more understanding. And I think the cultural aspect of it is really cool in that sense as well. And like you can live and learn in a new language and figure out how to navigate. And I think that's fun. So,
I feel like that's definitely a challenge to like express myself in English, which like in the beginning was really hard to like find the words and like get my point across, kind of, which I'm still working on and getting better at. But what was it to the question?
I think it's good for faculty to know that actually. Is there anything else you would want, you know, your faculty or staff or students to understand, you know, about how they could be supportive of your experience here?
Mostly it's just being patient and like understanding that sometimes it may take a little longer for us to like either understand or like get into kind of the culture, and because it can be very different, but like we also learn a lot from like the American culture, and sometimes we just need some time to process things.
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah, I think for some international or some people, everyone is different. So maybe you can adapt in 1 month, 1 semester, but for some people it's gonna take 1 year, 1 year and a half for the different cultures. Maybe some countries have actually a different cultures. So I think just be patient, try to understand. Maybe sometime ask for help. Maybe they're not gonna come to you and tell you, I need this, or can you help me with this? Maybe sometimes ask you, are you okay? You need something. And some people maybe it's gonna open for that. You're gonna be able to help them.
So being patient and being proactive about asking for help will seem like good things to do, yeah. Any other thoughts about?
No, yeah, I
advice
agree
from-
with what they've said.
Okay, one of the things that I think is particularly awesome about what I've heard of both of these teams is that they are a very diverse group of individuals, and they're able to come together in a way that celebrates the uniqueness of all the different people who are part of the team. And I also, what you said about leadership seems like a really interesting part of that something about this process seems to be really good for helping the students develop not just as players, but also as communicators and as leaders. And I wondered if you'd had that experience and if you could tell us a little bit about what that was like for you.
Yeah, I feel like you can always learn something from everyone, and the uniqueness of having so many people from so many different places makes you that the things that you're learning from them are coming from different perspectives, different points of view. So if you end up picking up one thing from everyone that you've met all the way along, you're gonna be a very much grown individual that's gonna be able to relate to more people because you've experienced more things from different people.
I think that most of the people, all of the people have different backgrounds, and at the end of the day, everything that they can tell you, they can teach you, you can take it and you're gonna save it for your whole life. I think that experience that we are able to like learn here, we're not gonna be able to learn it anywhere else because everyone is different. I think that's being like the best thing for me.
I agree. Our team is not as diverse as the men's team when it comes to nationalities, but we still have like a lot of people from different places in the US and still like a lot of different backgrounds. So there's always something to learn from everyone.
Are there other questions that we should
Not just yet.
pause for? Okay, go
I have
ahead.
a question. So, wonder if you could talk about your goals, like beyond college, beyond maybe beyond athletics. What do you hope to do, whether it's, you know, a career, where you want to live eventually, and how has your time at UNO Soccer influenced those goals?
I think my goal is to like get a degree and like be able to do something I like with it and be able to settle down somewhere, like knowing that I like explored like some other things than just like my little town where I'm from. And that's like the great thing about like me coming here, like having the opportunity to like learn so much more about the world and seeing so much more, especially like we travel a lot across the US. So I'm able to like see a lot of places, which I feel like expands like my, I don't know, view, and like I get to see and learn a lot. And my goal is kind of like to just be happy with where I like settle down and what I do with that.
Yeah, I think for me, soccer opened like the doors for me in a new world. I never was like actually a study guy, like always soccer like was everything like about the culture, like how you live in South America, and especially in Chile. It's just you don't have the option to study and play soccer at the same time. Like this will never happen in Chile. You can go college and play and study. So when I had the opportunity to come here to the US, I took it. And I think it was the best opportunity I could have. I could take. It opened a lot of doors for me in my future. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do after, but I'm just enjoying the moment. I'm grateful for everything that I've achieved.
I say that almost everyone that starts playing soccer when they're a kid, the dream is to play professionally, and obviously you have always that door open. But one of the reasons why a lot of internationals come here to the US is to be able to study at the same time that you can still compete at a high level. Just to have both doors open and both paths, whether it's like if you finish your degree and you have some professional opportunities to continue playing soccer here or overseas back in Europe or anywhere else, you might as well take it. But if not, you know that you've already achieved a degree from a US institution, which is really highly valued back in, at least in Spain, to have someone that's has gone overseas, got a degree, knows another language. So and even though if you want to stay here, like I feel like there are a lot of opportunities, especially at least in the industry and the tech industry where I'm getting my degree. There are high chances of me even getting a job and staying here and I'll be able to work in interesting things, you know. So which is not the case in Spain, for example, where I'm from, where like these kind of industries are not as big as it can get here, you know.
Well, these are all really interesting things to think about. It's a great question, and I'm glad that you've all had the chance to gain something and learn something and feel like you've grown from the experience. I have one last question to ask, unless there are others, feel free to interrupt, but if there was one thing, coaches and players, if there's one thing that you really would like to use this opportunity to communicate to a broader audience of faculty and staff and students here, that you'd like them to know about you and your experience here at UNO, what would it be? What would you like to tell us that we haven't covered yet?
I guess I'll start. I think for us, our goal is as leaders of young men is we fully realize and appreciate we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. We're, you know, from the soccer team to the athletic department to the university really to the community, right? And what that is, we call this the People's University at Omaha. And so we want to be known for much more than just wins and losses on the field. We want to be known for developing great leaders, great stewards of this university and this community. And that's something not only as coaches, but as a team we've come together we make goals at the beginning of the season. Only 2 of them have to do with soccer, right? The others have to do with community service, with academics and team GPA, with how do we give back and become something larger than ourselves, right? And I think that's a testament to these guys and other members of the team, and that's something we certainly want to be known for, and we want to give back and create future leaders of business, of their families, and of this community and university to expand. So something for myself.
Yeah, I agree with what he said. Obviously, we're here to play soccer to get a degree, but if you think about it, there are a lot of people working hard to give us an opportunity also to be here, to come here, to be able to progress. And at the end of the day, as Coach said, we set some goals, and some of those goals were to give back to the community. And as you grow older, especially now as a senior, I realize how a lot of people who work for me be able to get here, and like it's also good to see that you can give back to the community, and to have events with little kids, for example, that they might not have as many opportunities that we've been given, and like it's also good to see a smile on their face, you know.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, it's true that we wrote the goals at the beginning of the season, and we put a lot of focus on the community, the grades, and actually being a good person. I think you are just 1 hour on the field, 2 hours on the field of the day, but then the rest of the day, you gotta be respectful for everyone. We are the visible face on the field, but behind us, we have the coaches, you have the equipment guys up there, like they do everything for us. Like for them, we're able to train, have our clothes and everything. So I think most of it is just trying to be good at the field, and then the rest of the day being able to help everyone in the way that we can help them, because we receive a lot of help from everyone. So just being a good person, being able to help the community with everything that we can.
I agree with what you've all said, and I also think it's important to give back and like be good people and nice to the next person you meet. I also think it's important to like be open to everyone, and no matter like where they're from, like their background, like, and just be curious and open.
Curiosity and openness, really important qualities for, if you need to move, the sun is like right on you. There. Yeah, anything else you'd like to add about this?
No, I mean, I think they all said it best, but I think just to piggyback on top of all that, I think the experiences that we give these guys go so much further than just on the field. And I think that we need to remember that we're shaping, individuals, and to move on through their professional career and their life with these experiences is so important. Like, I mean, I know I can speak from my experiences overseas, and I, as a leader, want to like provide the same opportunity for these kind of individuals as people provided for me over there, and just give them the opportunity to go as far as they want to go in whichever direction they want to go, and provide as much resources as they need to do and reach their dreams and do whatever they need to do, because I think this is a very unique experience for everyone that comes from a different part of the world, and it will last a lot longer than the 4 years of eligibility that you have to play the sport. And so I think remembering that part of it as well is super important as far as administration and staff goes. So.
Well, we've really learned a lot from this, and I want to thank you a lot for giving us these insights, because I think as a faculty member, I can certainly say this has expanded my understanding of, what students might need in their experience, what might be valuable about it, and what I might be able to do. And that's really what we hope to provide is some opportunity for learning and a resource for people. But I can't let you go without telling us more about the World Cup, right? We need pointers and thoughts. So if you have teams we should be looking out for, or things that you're going to be looking for that you're interested in, let us know your insights. What should we be watching for?
I say that hopefully we get a Brazil-Argentina game.
Okay.
Semi-final or the final, and that's probably going to be like one of the biggest games ever. If it comes to that case, for the past and for what it would mean to the future. So that would be one game to watch out if it happens. And then for me personally, would be to see where Spain goes and what can they do. Hopefully we can get that second star on the bats, but we don't know.
I think we're watching two of the greatest players of the all time. We have Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo both playing maybe the last World Cup. We're not sure. They said that's gonna be. We don't
It
know.
might be.
They might be. So I think just enjoy it. Try to watch all the games that we can. Just I hope one of them can get it, but I think it's gonna stay in South America. So like with my.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely two big profiles in Messi and Ronaldo that it might be their last World Cup. And I'm personally gonna look especially at Argentina and Brazil to see like how they can do in their last World Cup. And I personally would hope for Messi to crown his career with World Cup win.
I'm among friends here then, because I too am a bit of an Argentina fan because of Messi, but it hasn't always worked out that way. You know, I think there might be a big gap between playing for one team and then having to restart with a new group and having that group come together. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful though. I'm hopeful. Any other thoughts about World Cup from your coaches?
Yeah, I think it's always interesting seeing, you know, I think the game goes and styles go in a little bit of a circle, right? Where they start to come back to time. One of the things I'm excited about kind of looking ahead is in 4 years' time, the World Cup comes back to the US between US, Mexico, and Canada. And I'm very curious and excited. I think we're going to see a big boom in this country in terms, you've talked about the growth of professional soccer already. I mean, it's incredible over the last 15 years, the amount of opportunities, the infrastructure, the financial backing into soccer in this country. But in 4 years and hopefully I think the ripple effect's going to see its way into college soccer of the interest and you know how viable of a sport it is. And so I'm excited to see looking ahead and obviously a different time and not used to being able to watch international football right all winter. And so it gives me something to do from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Exciting. I do think it's interesting. You know, when I was that age, there was no women's soccer team in my high school. You couldn't play for the school. You could play for a club, but you couldn't play at school. And now it's in the high schools as an official sport for women. There wasn't a lot of interest in the men's team then either, but now almost all the kids I know are playing soccer at least a little bit. They're at least playing Y soccer or club soccer or something. So many people now see that as their favorite sport or a very exciting sport. So even if they don't take it all the way to college level, there's just a lot of interest among people now in soccer generally. Any last thoughts?
No, yeah, not to open that can of worms, but the women's game has also progressed a lot in the last couple of years, the interest and all that. So I think it'll be really fun to see this World Cup as well, just a different time of year. And it's not normal that on Thanksgiving Day you can watch World Cup games. So it's going to be exciting to see that. But there's another aspect to that, which Emilie brought to my attention before we started this meeting, is just the like coming off of a season. It'll be interesting to see how they go, like coming off of the season and going straight into the World Cup rather than usually they have a little bit of a break before they go in. So it's gonna be different, but it'll be fun. It's gonna be fun. So, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I do have another question.
Go.
If you guys don't mind, you've talked about your experiences here and kind of what brought you to UNL, but I'd love to know essentially your soccer like origin story. Like what was the spark that got you first interested in the sport and what has motivated you to make it such an integral part of your lives moving forward?
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, I started playing soccer when I was 4. It's pretty much like everyone at home, and then I was lucky enough to always be on professional academies growing up. Since I was 5 till I was 19, I was always part of like professional academy where like you have all the opportunities and all the facilities and everything available to you. And then when I had to make a decision between staying on a B team or for professional team or come here and try to get a degree, because you know you train in the morning, classes are in the morning in Spain too, and they're completely separate things. Like university is one thing and the soccer club is another thing, so they don't talk to each other or there is no way of helping between. So I decided to come here to also get a degree and to have that second other route, because playing professional soccer is even though you have some abilities, it's pretty hard. You have to be one of the small percent that gets luckier and works hard enough, you know.
Yeah, for me it was the same. I started playing young for 5 years. I started playing academy at 13, 14 years. Then I play as well with the national team in Chile, U20. But then I had to decide whether to go pro or study. And I think that the contracts that they offer you or that you might able to have in South America and Chile, especially, the money is not good enough. So if you actually wanna think if you are not gonna be able to live with that academic contract and a professional contract in Chile, you gotta go outside to play. So that's when I had to take the decision to came here or continue with or study just in Chile. And I had the opportunity to came here and I took it.
Yeah, I started when I was 7. We didn't have like a girls team my age, so I practiced with the boys team in the beginning. And then my dad and another coach agreed or like started a girls team. And it was really motivating to see like all of us coming together, and having my dad as a coach really motivated me. And I also really think the game is really fun, and I still do. And I decided to come here. It was kind of, I had 2 friends that had gone to the US, and I saw like the opportunity they got and decided that I wanted to do the same thing.
What about you coaches?
I started playing when I was young, all the way through college, and, you know, cup of coffee after. Of course, we've been affected so much by the game that we've made it our career. And so, you know, whether it's the competitive nature or, you know, the ability, I always say that I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world to be able to get up and excited to come to my job every single day, right? And not only from the soccer aspect, but being able to impact the future, really, generations and impact young people's lives is really, really special for me, and spending time outside, continuing to get the tan isn't bad either, right? So, you know, I wake up and enjoy it every day. I think as soccer coaches, you don't get into it for the money, right? You get into it for the love, and it's been a huge part of my life, a huge part of my identity, and just being able to give back and help grow the game, help develop leaders, and develop you know, young men every day is really a blessing.
Yeah, I grew up playing, and I started when I was 4 as well, and then I played all the way through college. I actually played at Creighton, so coming back full circle to Omaha now. But when I graduated at Creighton, it was kind of a unique situation. There wasn't a pro league to play for girls in America. It was one of the years that the NWSL had folded. And so that was my dream as a kid growing up, was to play pro somewhere. And the opportunity arose to go to Sweden. So I did that for 8 years. And then, yeah, now I get to share those experiences and all that with the players here. You know, I wasn't the most highly recruited player or anything like that. I wasn't the best on my team, but it took me places I never thought it would. And now I'm back here, and I get to share those experiences and hopefully give back to our players as well and help them go. Because I think now the opportunities for females especially have definitely multiplied. And so it's exciting to see. And I think it's an exciting opportunity to be a part of, you know, a little bit of the change and helping these players go and achieve their soccer dreams. So, yeah.
Great. Well, if there are no other questions, I want to thank all of you so much for spending this time with us. And this gives us a chance to share this information with other faculty. And I think it will be really valuable to people in the UNO community generally, not only to celebrate your success as teams, we're very excited and proud of you, but also we've learned a lot from listening to your experiences. So thank you so much.
Thank you.